In today's video, we are taking a look here at the tropics where we've seen a very slight increase in probability here for this tropical disturbance. So we're going to talk about that in a moment, as well as the very active pattern that we have upcoming as far as storminess, temperature flips with those cold fronts that come through. It's going to be relatively active over the next 10 days, and we really need to break that down. Before we do so, though, I would ask that you check out Prestige Weather in the description and pinned comment down below. We have really cool things upcoming over there that you guys are going to absolutely love. I can't say anything yet, but we are expanding on what we've already built and adding new features, and I am so excited. As for now, we do early releases of our monthly and seasonal forecasts over there, as well as regular weather consulting with you guys, consulting calls, and those would be available for only $4.99 a month. So absolutely crazy value right now. Now let's get into things, and as you can see, we're taking a look here at our tropical disturbance, and we do have a 60% chance of development here over not only the next 7 days, but even within the next 48 hours, we have a 60% chance, or just over 50-50 chance. So more chance than not that we do see development over the next 48 hours. If it takes longer than that, that chance I do expect will probably decrease over time. As you can see, it's expected to kind of take a northern curve here, aka the water is going to be getting colder and colder as it heads northward, and we're just overall going to see a decrease in probability with time. Really, it's all just for the numbers of the hurricane season. We don't expect this to pose too much of a threat for North America, or really any land for that matter. So it would really just be adding another named storm to the hurricane season and pushing us along. I remember the 2020 hurricane season, the historic hurricane season, where we made it into the Greek names. So after they run out of alphabet, they go into Greek letters, or Greek names. And that was a historic hurricane season. I remember it being just like this, where we were really paying attention to the counting down of those names and seeing how far we would go. It was very evident early on that that was going to be a historic year. This year, probably not that active, but it is expected to be above average activity. So it is interesting to kind of track these storms. Now, as we look at the upcoming pattern, I want to move us straight towards this afternoon. And as you can see, we do have activity here across a lot of the eastern seaboard, the deeper southeast, and the Ohio Valley. And this is going to be in the form of thunderstorms. So we are expecting quite a bit of those scattered about downpours, thunderstorms, maybe even some severe weather in this area. Not only that, though, we do expect for the upper Midwest and down through the Rockies as well, a lot of that activity to transpire. We did have tornadic activity I wanted to mention here because my Prestige Weather partner, Brendan, we own the company together, lives in Elgin, Illinois there, and we did see a tornado move through that area. It's an outskirt area of Chicago, and really a dangerous situation, very scary. There's multiple tornado warnings yesterday evening for this area, and thankfully he's all right, so I can confirm that. But a lot of damage took place in those areas as we had a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning. And if you're not familiar with that, that means really bad. So not only a tornado, but a dangerous tornado was taking place. Now, as we go ahead and move on towards Friday here, we can see a lot of the eastern seaboard sees a flare-up of activity here through the afternoon. Very widespread, and I expect a little bit more just consistency with this activity, maybe even just for this area in general. It's looking a lot more consistent there. Now, as we can see, we also see that the northern plains here and the Great Lakes and upper Midwest are receiving some scattered about thunderstorms as well. So definitely a very interesting situation, and we're seeing a little bit more of an uptick in that activity for tomorrow on Friday. Saturday doesn't really push on the brakes at all. We can see that there is actually plenty of activity through the Great Lakes, down through the Ohio Valley, deeper south, and back up the southeast coast there. We're seeing a little bit more consistent activity in these areas as well on Saturday. And then Sunday, this all kind of comes together again for the eastern seaboard. So this is looking very similar to your Friday. So we get 2 days this weekend that look pretty similar to this. Definitely going to be a pretty impactful situation. We could see some broad low pressure here for kind of south central Canada. And this is adding to the fire here, not the literal Canadian fire. I guess that wasn't really the right thing to say, but adding fuel to this fire, which is the thunderstorms and just in general activity up here, certainly. Actually, this is probably going to help diminish that fire a little bit because of rain, obviously. It'll actually be productive for that. Monday here, we can see on the 17th, we can see that underneath this low that now is far northward there in eastern Canada, we can see a lot of this activity down through the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes. We have another area of some scattered about and more widespread thunderstorms on that southeast coast as well by Monday the 17th. Tuesday into the 18th here, we're seeing a little bit more of a quieter situation. Maybe some scattered about thunderstorms for that eastern seaboard, but a little bit less widespread. Unless you're in New England and kind of that northeast coast, we could see a little bit more widespread activity expected there. For Wednesday, a lot quieter. We can see a little bit of a system here in the Ohio Valley that's going to be pretty small. And then we can see also for the southern Rockies into the northern plains. But again, a little bit more of a smaller scale here with this. So a lot less people being impacted by these systems in particular. On Thursday, we see a little bit of an expansion of this Ohio Valley system. And we see a little bit more widespread activity through the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, down into the Mid-Atlantic. But again, still nothing like we've seen what we're expecting this weekend. For Friday, we get an interesting system, a coastal low there over Massachusetts. Potentially some showers and thunderstorms here for these areas. This looks a little bit more like a weaker nor'easter to me. And usually when we see these types of systems, it might just bring a pure rain event and a little bit less chance for thunderstorms. So we will be watching this. Of course, this is in the longer range, so we want to take this with a grain of salt. But in general, I think that this could be a mostly rain event and less of a thunderstorm event. Now for Saturday evening, and that's going to be the 22nd, so next Saturday evening, we can see another round of 2 areas of scattered thunderstorm activity here along the east, with a little bit less activity in between, as you can see. But for the northeast Ohio Valley, and then down there for the deeper southeast, we expect some scattered bout thunderstorms there on the day for Saturday the 22nd. Of course, as we move forward in the days to come, we probably are going to get a little bit of a clearer picture, and this might look a little bit different, as this is the very, very long range. Now, total precipitation here, as you can see, we are dealing with some heavier rainfall, 2 to 5 inches of rainfall there in the reds in general. I always say the reds, the browns, and anything above are going to be above average for a 10-day period. Most areas average about 3 to 4 inches per month, so that's 3 10-day periods. So if you're seeing 2 to 5 in 10 days, you're looking at like 300% of your average precipitation on a 10-day period. In layman's terms there, above average, far above average precipitation. And we can see that I think the area I want to pinpoint here the most is the Ohio Valley up through the northeast for the most above average precipitation. There is a couple of pockets here in the deeper south, as you can see. I can just do this separately. We can see that there is some heavier precipitation taking place here as well, definitely kind of adding to those averages and probably bringing us into the above average precipitation territory, of course. Now, as you can see, we're going to just take a look at the temperature pattern real quickly. Below average temperatures moving in from the north. A little bit above normal here for the eastern seaboard and the Gulf states here, as you can see. But definitely we're seeing this kind of cool down moving in through the northern plains and upper Midwest. This is all due in part to this positive PNA that we see out west, and this is leading towards an unbalance. It's pushing this warm air northward, which causes this cold air to have to kind of surge southward, and that's why we see this flow of things. Definitely a heat wave. I don't know why this always does this. Ever since I got a Mac, I get this little emoji thing that likes to pop up, so ignore that. But we can see that as we move on, this cool down moves a little bit eastward. It's definitely getting fought back by a lot of this warmer air to the south, so we see this colder air mass. I'm going to do a down arrow for this. Being fought by this warmer air mass to the south, and it leads towards maybe the Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and Northeast seeing these below normal temperatures, or at least near normal temperatures, with areas further south still dealing with that above normal temperatures. So not quite as cold as what we saw in June, but we do begin to see a consistent trend as we approach August of these areas being very close to normal or below normal. And these are some of the areas that have already had a very, very cool summer compared to normal, so definitely worth paying attention to. Anyway, be sure to subscribe for daily uploads just like this one. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.